Hello, it's Tammy, and I thought I would turn the camera around and actually spend a little time talking with you. Um, so, if you're new to my channel, welcome. I practice aromatology and phytotherapy. I've got an extensive background basically in pharmacology and the study of plant constituents as it relates to the influence of their influence rather on drug development and the human genome. And I also pair all of that with nutritional science because there's a synergy, if you will. I work primarily with essential oils. I do a lot of integrative consults. If you'd like an appointment, links in the description box. You can certainly book an appointment with me there. And but it's basically integrative consults that does involve the custom formulation of essential oil blends, if that is what you're interested in. That is paired with nutritional science, because nutrient-rich foods contain the vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients that these cells require, and the oils are basically signaling molecules that we find all throughout nature, all throughout the world. They are lipophilic, just like hormones are lipophilic, just like tens of thousands of millions of man-made chemicals are lipophilic. These are all signaling molecules. And that's pretty much the idea to this entire video. But like I said, if an appointment is what you like, please click on the link below. I'm happy to speak with you via Skype, and any follow-up messaging occurs through HIPAA-compliant text messaging, so everything is secure. And it is also billable on insurance. I'd like to say that much. I do not bill insurance directly. However, I can provide you with all the essential numbers that you can submit for reimbursement. And so yeah, it's exciting stuff going on over here, and I just wanted to start off by sharing that with all of you, whether you're new or not. I'm really in this for the long haul. And so that said, I wanted to go into GMOs today, as the title alludes to, although not in the sense where I'm going to get on a bandwagon that says GMOs are bad and let's get rid of GMOs. I really want to highlight, just like I do anything else, is to kind of underscore everything that's going on, give people information so that they can make informed decisions. Actually better decisions than what we're currently doing, because right now we see GMOs as bad for the most part. I think there's people who are in favor of GMOs, so there's a division. But if you're one of the, I just want to say that the smoke that you see is my incense. I just noticed that's kind of cool. But anyway, so what I want to do is dispel pretty much the ability that we think we have to just completely eliminate GMOs and the problems that arise from them overnight. It isn't going to happen. That's pretty much a no-brainer, right? But I want to say even more about that. It's kind of like coming off a psychotropic medication. You have to do it gradually. You just can't stop taking it. You have to step down from these medications. And the same thing would be said for the way we've created a GMO world. Yeah, a genetically modified world. We just can't stop using GMO seeds. If we did, even if we did, we'd have to step it down gradually, just to cut it out altogether, to stop all of the inundation of chemicals into our environment would just throw Mother Nature into a massive detox, major upheaval. There's no predicting how anything would go, but I don't think it would be very comfortable for a long time. Basically, Mother Nature is in a state of dis-ease, just like the human body is in a state of dis-ease. And this goes for everyone. I don't care how significant your discomfort is or how minimal your discomfort is. You're living in a state of dis-ease and disorder. Remember, dis-ease, disorder is lack of ease and lack of order. And so GMOs are one major player in this. But like I said, if we were just to stop using all of these chemicals, that lack of ease and order that we're surrounded by would have to go through change. It's going to go through adaptations to, I can't say reverse what was done. Sorry, I'm just trying to get a little more comfortable here. It's not about reversing, but it's about adjusting to the changes. And because keep in mind, nature or life flows in a forward direction. So it's not necessarily going to go back to the way it was. It will adjust. It'll puke. It'll go through, it'll herx for those of you who know what herxing is. It's basically a serious detox process. So Mother Nature will herx, and she'll herx, and she'll herx until she's got the dry heaves. And at that point, things may begin to settle down. But it's going to take some time and a whole lot of discomfort for many, many people, actually for all of us. So now that I've said that, what do we do? Well, I'm actually doing my next radio program, and if you're watching this in pretty much real time, that would be Monday, September 17th of 2018. I am actually going to try to record that show because I'm really excited about it. The week after that, the 24th, is going to be on CBD and marijuana. So you can always tune in at KMRD.FM. That link is in the description box below. If you happen to be in the vicinity, which is Cerrillos and Madrid, New Mexico, you can pick it up on 96.9. Best bet is KMRD.FM. In order to stream it. And if I do, in fact, if I'm able to record next week's GMOs, I will certainly try and post that even here as something that you can listen to. It'll be kind of along the lines that we're talking here, but on that show I will have a guest as well that brings levity to the situation. So we'll see how much fun we can have with GMOs this coming week. Nonetheless, GMOs are a serious issue, and if you think eliminating GMO foods from your diet is going to save you from whatever you think GMOs are doing to you, please rethink that thought. It's becoming serious. In fact, I've put a link in the description box also below that kind of backs up everything that I'm saying here. Before I ever found this particular document, I was actually sitting with an Amish farmer, and he was experiencing all kinds of bacterial and fungal infections throughout his fields, and basically from his high-yielding crops. He had started Lancaster Farm Fresh. He was a massive organic farmer. He had created a collective of organic farmers, but unfortunately, these organic farms are surrounded by GMO fields, and as well as fields with pesticides, using pesticides and herbicides. So for as much as we want to think we're eating organic, just because the food is grown organically doesn't necessarily mean that it's not exposed to inorganic substances or chemicals, lipophilic chemicals that will go in and alter the plant's DNA, just even the slightest amount. So no matter how organic we think we're being, it's really not organic any longer because we all live in the same world. And again, these fields are next door neighbors. These fields aren't grown in bubbles, so there's signaling molecules. That's exactly how plants communicate. I've talked about this in other videos. Chemicals are the way nature communicates. Signaling molecules. Essential oils are signaling molecules. Hormones are signaling molecules. Virtually, I'm going to say millions of chemicals that we're exposed to on a regular basis, man-made chemicals, are signaling molecules. Plants put out signaling molecules. This is how they actually let one another know of an impending threat. It's how they attract animals and insects. This is also how they repel animals and insects, which is going to come up to be really interesting here in a moment. Because, again, when I was talking with this gentleman, he felt defeated. Because what's he going to do? I mean, he wasn't the kind of person, and nobody, I don't think, would go over and tell somebody, please stop doing that. while we feel like we have the right, it is also their right to make an income. So, like I said, he was feeling defeated, but I reassured him that we could actually come at it from a different angle, and that is the best defense is always the is a good offense, right? Is that how they say it? I don't know. Anyway, so we decided to go at it through the soil. We sprayed the plants that had that actually had the infection visible on them, and then we also went through the root structure, because this was an experience he was having year after year after year. And Penn State ag department was telling him it must be seed-borne. Well, it couldn't have been seed-borne if he's consistently getting the same thing every single year. And even if it was seed-borne, it's still in the soil. So we went for the soil, and we went for the topical application on the plants. And I did this in a number of fields. Then I was hit up by somebody who was raising bees. He happened to be many hives down. I think he had one hive that was barely making it, and he was surrounded by GMO soy. Now, the interesting thing is that bees are not, honeybees, that's not in their nature to be drawn to the soy plant. But see, this is where it tells me that GMOs are changing the DNA. Oh, I know they're changing the DNA, but they're changing the way the plant actually produces chemicals. And so now the soy plant was producing something that was attracting the bees. And so the bees started going to the soy and then coming back. And then they were getting the viruses that are in, developing these viruses that are actually killing the hives. So we can't get rid of the soy fields, so what do? We went for the hive, or the hives rather, the bees, and started producing healthier bees. But he had to keep up with it that way, because otherwise the bees would continue to default. Because the truth is that bee hygiene involves tyrosine kinase, which is an enzyme responsible for in the process, or the production rather, of dopamine, which is interesting to me. And I'm not saying that bees have dopamine, but that we just like bees have tyrosine kinase, and the fact that that enzyme is responsible for regulating behavior, and which was diminishing as a result of the infection and the changes that were occurring in their body from these GMOs, that's kind of the same thing we see happening in addiction. People lose that sense of self-hygiene. So I find all of that interesting. So like I said, if you really think that you're going to be able to get away from the impact of GMOs, keep in mind, like I mentioned a little while ago, plants signal one another for various reasons. This is how nature communicates. So if that's how non-GMO plants are communicating, this is how GMO plants are communicating. And that was the reason why I told Mr. Soulsfoos that this is how, because he was surprised to hear that the GMO fields would be affecting him. And I had to explain signaling molecules. And so these plants were emitting chemicals that were unfortunately infecting the plants, his plants. And the thing is that GMO plants, for as noble as it sounds that they're creating these plants to protect the plant from particular infestation of some kind of microbe that is native to their species, whether that's a fact or not, I can't say. What I can say is that when you change the DNA of anything, and they're inserting these DNA, because DNA, let me just say this for one thing, DNA actually have what's known as transponal elements. What we discovered less than 100 years ago is that the DNA has the ability to alter its structure in response to environmental influence or stress. This is what the DNA does, and those are called transponal elements. And it seems that now that they've recognized this, that they are playing with inserting bits and pieces of DNA of bacteria and viruses and such into these various plants in order to protect them from being infected. Well, while that makes sense, I will say this much. If a plant gets The plants are struggling as a result of our environment as it is. And the fact that we're doing this is actually creating more harm in us because, again, signaling molecules, you don't have to be ingesting them to not be being impacted by the molecules being released. And who's to say what plants are now being altered? We know corn and soy. We already know that, but do you know they're actually doing it to plum trees, and they're trying to do it and to increase the rate of development in like salmon. And as of 8 years ago, they were talking about, which means that probably have already done. It's called transgenic, where they're trying to alter plants in such a way that they basically become vaccinations for us. That's how I want to say that. And tobacco is their primary crop that they're going for. They've actually done things with the tobacco plant already, but they're actually looking at doing that with tobacco. Why? Because it is very highly used. It's a highly consumed plant, so why not? Why not try to put this into the tobacco, and now everybody's getting some form of vaccination. This is the intention, and they plan on doing this, or they were at some point with fruits and vegetables. And my guess is they probably already are. What all is being done, I haven't discovered that yet. But whether we're aware of it or not, we are either eating something, smelling something, or putting something on our skin that has been altered genetically, has been genetically modified. And that is, once it hits your skin, once you breathe it in, it goes into your system and it interacts. Like I said, nature communicates with chemicals. So it's impossible to predict how any of this is going to happen, but this is significant when it comes to digestive disruption, histamine issues, addiction, anxiety, mood disorders, you name it. Because as I said, the world out here, what we're doing out here is creating a lack of ease and order. And it's utter chaos at the chemical level, and everything is adapting rapidly. And this is the reason for the bees. And what's happening with the bees is that what we've done to the environment, for whatever reason, whether it was to protect the plant or not, it is actually killing something that is important to our environment. And if this is what it's doing to the bees, this is what it's doing to us. And at what level, we cannot say. So, again, we probably sound like we're defeated, right? Just like the farmer felt defeated with his field. But I will say this much, you're not defeated. You can, in fact, stabilize your system. You can, in fact, improve the way your system is responding to these messages and potentially even eliminate it. I'm not going to promise anything's going to happen, but I can tell you straight up, you'll have a far better experience with everything and how you feel and wellness if you actually start using essential oils as a lifestyle. If you're taking medications, even more important. I got a phone call today from a client that I'm going to have to take here shortly, who sees a psychiatrist up in Pennsylvania. My name has become popular in that community. I've been working with the Amish now for 5 years, but I'm getting more and more for whatever. She is like the premier psychiatrist, and this young man wanted to come down off of a medication, but she found out he was working with me. I did not even suggest it. That was his decision. However, so, hey, doctor, if you're watching this, Dr. C, I didn't tell him to stop taking the medication. That was his decision. But she turned around and told him that she didn't approve of him working with me and threatened to drop him. So the other part of this entire video is to state this is the reason why, hey, docs, this is why people don't tell you everything that they're doing, because you make it unsafe for them. They come to you for your knowledge. They come to you because they need a safe place to get better. And you do understand certain things. I understand certain things. And I also understand that there's plenty of people out here that don't understand how to mix medications and natural. But you can't disapprove of what they're doing. You have to help them. We're in this to do no harm. So to threaten to drop a patient or a client because they're using something natural, or in this case, trying to use me, again, I'm just here working within a system. I'm trying to help this young man feel as strong, as healthy as possible. So that was disappointing. But that's part of the disease and the disorder. And it's not all about one thing, and it's not all about another. So if you take medications, including essential oils as a lifestyle is essential. Like I said, I can help you do that, and I can help you get reimbursement on insurance. Not every aromatherapist can, but I can. What else can I say? Using essential oils as a lifestyle, because they are signaling molecules, using them mindfully, with intention, understanding how they interact at the liver enzyme level, at the CYP450 gene and CYP450 enzymes. When you understand how that works and you understand how to blend everything, this is again the reason for the integrative consults. Now, if you already use oils or have a source of oils, I can certainly at least help guide you to make sure that you blend it effectively, because including oils as a lifestyle, I can't say it enough, is their best bet against defending yourself against all of these man-made chemicals. That doesn't include medications, because medications are targeted, whereas natural kind of, like I said, it goes. And so you have to understand how to work with the two worlds. And I promise you, I do. So that's what I have to say about it. So GMOs and any other environmental chemicals, we're not defeated, but we have to start here. We have to start with stabilizing the system. From there, once stability is established, the body can become stronger and healthier. But we have to create stability. It does increase the ability of the medications to work. So they do go hand in hand. Anyway, like I said, let me know if you have any questions. Please let me help you. This is a very serious time that we're in, and if we don't start taking our lives into our own hands and investing in our future and our children's future, there's no telling where this world's going to go, because they can't predict what's happening with all these GMOs. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. You guys be blessed, and let's move in through inspiration. All right. Thanks. Bye.